Hey everybody, welcome back to the Court of Random Opinion. My name is Lauren Neidigh. As almost all of you who follow my channel know, I've been following the legal dockets in the Justin Baldoni versus Blake Lively saga with lots of different parties involved. One of them being Texas-based Jed Wallace, who was hired to do crisis PR for Justin Baldoni. Blake Lively has alleged that he somehow orchestrated a shadow smear campaign against her. And while most of the case stuff is going on in the New York federal court, this one is actually happening in Texas because Jed Wallace brought a lawsuit against Blake Lively there. Now, as most of us know, the mainstream media and larger news outlets are spinning things to their liking. And don't get me wrong, on some level, I think we all like to see things through a lens that's favorable to us. But when that becomes really problematic is when you make shit up. For example, Newsweek just put out an embarrassing article saying the Texas judge has shot down Blake Lively's motion to dismiss Jed's lawsuit. But they frame it in a way that's a shameless attempt to get clicks and really spreads misinformation. I've had people asking me about this today, and I've seen a couple other creators pick it up. But unfortunately, Newsweek was being dishonest in its portrayal of what actually happened. And because of that, I think they deserve to be dunked on a little bit. Before I show you why this article is so bad, let me tell you what actually happened. Last Friday, almost a week ago, April 25th, Jed Wallace filed his amended complaint. He had filed his initial complaint on February 4th. Between the initial complaint and the first amended complaint, Blake Lively had filed a motion to dismiss in response to the original complaint. So here's why Newsweek thinks they can get away with what they're doing. That motion to dismiss the original complaint was denied, subject to refiling in light of plaintiff's first amended complaint. In other words, the motion to dismiss was denied because there's nothing to deny. The original complaint is no longer in play here, and Blake Lively is required to respond to the amended complaint. The judge never decided whether it was right or wrong to dismiss Jed Wallace's complaint. This is just a standard part of the process. If somebody amends the complaint, you need a new motion to dismiss. It does not mean anything significant, and the fact that Newsweek is putting it out there as if it is significant is ridiculous. Let me show you just how ridiculous it is. They're actually taking quotes from the attorneys that were said at a different point in time and using them to bolster their article here. And you'll notice in their Why It Matters section, they don't mention anywhere that he had filed an amended complaint and that this is just part of the process. They're framing this as if it's an interesting and big development because they know that they can get clicks from it. It's causing other people and other creators to get confused and spread misinformation, even though that's not their intention. Newsweek reached out to Babcock and Lively's legal team for comment. So this right here is important because if you're mindfully reading, and a lot of us, just kind of skim through these things, but if you're mindfully reading, you can see that neither team has spoken to them today. Because if they did, they would just say, this is part of the procedure. And that's not going to get you clicks. But also notice that that part was sandwiched between a whole bunch of ads and not the most visible part of this piece. Here, they say what people are saying. So this sounds like they're giving you current quotes. Now, to demonstrate why I'm telling you this is disingenuous, people are running with this. So Lively's attorneys in a statement, and then they say this lawsuit will be dismissed. Here's what actually happened. Blake Lively's attorneys gave that quote to Fox 3 months ago. This article is from February 6th. And here is that exact same quote. While this lawsuit will be dismissed, we are pleased that Mr. Wallace has finally emerged from the shadows and that he too will be held accountable in federal court. And here, in this context, they are clearly speculating. They're saying this is going to get dismissed, as if they're confident in their position. And here's probably the stupidest part of this whole article, which is saying something because the entire thing is dog shit. Judge Ezra's decision leaves the door open for Wallace to refine and resubmit his complaint, and Lively can file to dismiss again as proceedings continue. The entire reason her motion was dismissed is because he did refine and resubmit his complaint. The judge's refusal to dismiss the Texas case marks another development in what has become a legal battle involving multiple jurisdictions and high-profile entertainment figures. And again, right here, the judge's refusal to dismiss the Texas case, that is extremely disingenuous. It's embarrassing. It's a bad look once people figure it out. They're not going to trust you in the things that you report in the future. And it's really not helpful to anybody but you for ad revenue. Kind of like Celeste IQ and those stupid-ass AI bot channels that are trying to farm ad revenue by convincing you that Blake Lively is in a fight with Meryl Streep over a movie they did together that doesn't exist. Between these cases and the way the media handled the FSU shooting while I was sitting here worried about my loved ones on that campus, I am so disenchanted with the mainstream media and larger media outlets. I legitimately cannot name one major news source that you can actually trust because they're all playing this game right here. All right, everybody, thanks for listening to my brain vomit. You have a nice day.